Hello and welcome to Books of Blood. My name is John, and today we're going to be continuing our tour of horror across America, and we're going to be stopping in sunny Florida. Now you would think a state such as the Sunshine State that, with the beaches and the bright weather and the sunshine and Disney World and all that there wouldn't be a lot of horror, but guess what? You would be mistaken, because today I've got 8 books, almost said 5. I've got 8 books here, recommendations for you guys, so let's go ahead and get underway, alright? So first up, we have got Annihilation, and this is by Jeff Vandermeer. This is book 1 in what is known as the Southern Reach trilogy. I can't remember what the other ones are called. I think one of them's like Acceptance or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to talk about this one first of all. Area X has been cut off from the rest of the continent for decades. Nature has reclaimed the last vestiges of human civilization. The first expedition returned with reports of a pristine Edenic landscape. The second expedition ended in mass suicide. The third expedition in a hail of gunfire as its members turned on one another. The members of the 11th expedition returned as shadows of their former selves, and within weeks all had died of cancer. In Annihilation, the first volume of Jeff Vandermeer's Southern Reach trilogy, we join the 12th expedition. The group is made up of 4 women, an anthropologist, a surveyor, a psychologist, the de facto leader, and our narrator, a biologist. Their mission is to map the terrain, record all observations of their surroundings and of one another, and above all, avoid being contaminated by Area X itself. They arrive expecting the unexpected, and Area X delivers. They discover a massive topographic anomaly and life forms that surpass understanding. But it's the surprises that came across the border with them, and the secrets the expedition members are keeping from one another, that changes everything. And that is Annihilation, and that is by Jeff Vandermeer. Alright, next up we've got Duma Key, and this is by Stephen King. No more than a dark pencil line on a blank page, a horizon line maybe, but also a slot for blackness to pour through. A terrible construction site accident takes Edgar Fremantle's right arm and scrambles his memory and his mind, leaving him with little but rage as he begins the ordeal of rehabilitation. A marriage that produced 2 lovely daughters suddenly ends, and Edgar begins to wish he hadn't survived the injuries that could have killed him. He wants out. His psychologist, Dr. Kamen, suggests a geographic cure, a new life distant from the Twin Cities and the building business Edgar grew from scratch, and Kamen suggests something else. Edgar, does anything make you happy? I used to sketch. Take it up again. You need hedges against the night. Edgar leaves Minnesota for a rented house on Duma Key, a stunningly beautiful, eerily undeveloped splinter of the Florida coast. The sun setting into the Gulf of Mexico and the tidal rattling of shells on the beach call out to him, and Edgar draws. A visit from Ilsa, the daughter he dotes on, starts his movement out of solitude. He meets a kindred spirit in Wireman, a man reluctant to reveal his own wounds, and then Elizabeth Eastlake, a sick old woman whose roots are tangled deep in Duma Key. Now Edgar paints, sometimes feverishly, his exploding talent, both a wonder and a weapon. Many of his paintings have a power that cannot be controlled. When Elizabeth's past unfolds and the ghosts of her childhood begin to appear, the damage of which they are capable is truly devastating. The tenacity of love, the perils of creativity, the mysteries of memory, and the nature of the supernatural. Stephen King gives us yet another novel as fascinating as it is gripping and terrifying. And that is Duma Key. And that's by Stephen King. Alright, next we have got Fantastic Land, and this is by Mike Bakoven. Since the 1970s, Fantastic Land has been the theme park where fun is guaranteed. But when a hurricane ravages the Florida coast and isolates the park, the employees find it anything but fun. 5 weeks later, the authorities who rescue the survivors encounter a scene of horror. Photos soon emerge online of heads on spikes outside of rides and viscera and human bones littering the gift shops, breaking records for hits, views, likes, clicks, and shares. How could a group of survivors, mostly teenagers, commit such terrible acts? Presented as a fact-finding investigation and a series of first-person interviews, Fantastic Land pieces together the grisly series of events. Park policy was that the mostly college-age employees surrender their electronic devices to preserve the authenticity of the Fantastic Land experience. Cut off from the world and left on their own, the teenagers soon form rival tribes who viciously compete for food, medicine, social dominance, and even human flesh. This new social network divides the ravaged dreamland into territories ruled by the pirates, the shop girls, the freaks, and the mole people. If meticulously curated online personas can replace private identities, what takes over when those constructs are lost? And that is Fantastic Land, and that is by Mike Bakoven. Alrighty, moving on, we have got Bad Man, and this is by Dathan Auerbach. Eric disappeared when he was 3 years old. Ben looked away for only a second at the grocery store, but that was all it took. His brother was gone, vanished into the sticky air of the Florida Panhandle. 5 years later, Ben is still looking for his brother, still searching, while his stepmother sits and waits and whispers for Eric, refusing to leave the house that Ben's father can no longer afford. Now 20 and desperate for work, Ben takes a job on the night stock crew at the only place that will have him, the store that blinked Eric out of existence. Ben can feel there's something wrong there, with the people, with his boss, with a graffiti bailer that shudders and groans and beckons. But he's in the right place. He knows the store has much to show him, so he keeps searching. Except Ben misses the most important thing of all, that he should have stopped looking. And that is Bad Man, and that is by Dathan Auerbach. Okay, next up we have got Brimstone, and this is by Cherie Priest. In the trenches of Europe during the Great War, Tomas Cordero operated a weapon more devastating than any gun, a flame projector that doused the enemy in liquid fire. Having left the battlefield a shattered man, he comes home to find yet more tragedy, for in his absence his wife has died of the flu. Haunted by memories of the woman he loved and the atrocities he perpetrated, Tomas dreams of fire and finds himself setting match to flame when awake. Alice Dartle is a talented clairvoyant living among others who share her gifts in the community of Cassadaga, Florida. She too dreams of fire, knowing her nightmares are connected to the shell-shocked war veteran and widower, and she believes she can bring peace to him and his wife's spirit. But the inferno that threatens to consume Tomas and Alice was set ablaze centuries ago by someone whose hatred transcended death itself. And that is Brimstone, and that is by Cherie Priest. All right. Next up, we have got The Between, and this is by Tananarive Dew. When Hilton was just a boy, his grandmother sacrificed her life to save him from drowning. 30 years later, he begins to suspect that he was never meant to survive that accident, and that dark forces are working to rectify that mistake. When Hilton's wife, the only elected African-American judge in Dade County, Florida, begins to receive racist hate mail, he becomes obsessed with protecting his family. Soon, however, he begins to have horrible nightmares, more intense and disturbing than any he has ever experienced. Are the strange dreams trying to tell him something? His sense of reality begins to slip away as he battles both the psychotic threatening to destroy his family and the even more terrifying enemy stalking his sleep. Chilling and utterly convincing, the between follows the struggles of a man desperately trying to hold on to the people and life he loves but may have already lost. The compelling plot holds readers in suspense until the final, profound moment of resolution. And that is The Between, and that is by Tananarive Due. Alright. Next we have Island of Bones, and this is by Gabby Triana. When Ellie Whitaker leaves her dead-end job behind to spread her grandmother's ashes in tropical paradise, the last thing she expected was to face more ghosts. But darkness lurks inside her Nana's ancestral home. Ellie's presence stirs up its energies, and as a hurricane creeps closer to the island, she must hurry to discover long-buried truths. About her treasure-hunting grandfather's death in 1951, about the curse her grandmother left behind, about the innkeeper next door with an evil secret, and the spectral visions she keeps having, some there to help her, some to make sure Ellie becomes a ghostly resident of haunted Key West forever. And that is Island of Bones, and that is by Gabby Triana. And last but not least, we've got Cruel Summer, and this is by Wesley Southard. Melissa Brown is a broken woman, only wanting what's best for her family. She's willing to do whatever it takes to mend her fractured relationship with her abusive boyfriend. In a last-ditch effort, she hopes the sun and sand of a much-needed Florida vacation will bring them closer together. Patrick Brown is a demoralized kid. Quiet and sullen, he only wants his mother to see her boyfriend's torment crippling everything they love. After years of silence, he refuses to stand by and let the abuse continue to tear them apart. Hoyt Rainey is a vile man. Unable to keep his hands to himself, he finally takes his anger one step too far. Only this time he finds himself on the receiving end of his own punishment. Down and down he goes, plunging deeper into the dark blue abyss of the sea. Melissa and Patrick finally believe they are safe, the trouble now behind them for good. They are wrong. Gods never really stay dead. They only lie in wait. And when a beast as old as time discovers Hoyt, he too won't stay gone for long. The nights grow darker, the water flows colder, and the cruelty of summer lives on. And that was Cruel Summer, and that is by Wesley Southard. And that is going to do it for our Horror Across America tour of sunny Florida. Hope you guys have enjoyed this part of the trip. I hope you will return, because I believe next time it's going to be Georgia. So until then, take care and stay scared. Bye-bye.